Hey guys, we begin Orc Slayer What Ifs. Where we last left off, let's see. Checking. I believe Deku got busted by his dad. Or his dad talked with him about it. Went to school. Went through there. Yeah, he just went through school normally as it would. A couple of months to maybe even a year later, he started going around a walk. He started doing his long range walks and train rides again, to where he met Kirishima and Mina, as he sort of had to bluff his way out of a situation when it came to, I believe everyone should know him, a guy called Gigantomachia, Gigantomachia, which I believe is that guy, like when you see Kirishima in his flashback. Sorry. Stop yelling. Oh yeah. As Deku and such saved the two schoolgirls without Mina having to get involved, pushed Kirishima in the right direction, and even recommended the hero and such. So overall, he did a pretty good job. Even talked with Mina and such a one-on-one. And this should be the part where I get to UA entrance exam. So, we're going to skip forward a few more months. Yeah, several more months. As when it's like announced, oh, Deku's trying out for UA, and so is Ida. Ida, like, actually starts talking with Deku about, I feel like, maybe Ida would approach him, maybe he wouldn't. But for my thing, I'll say you would say, Midoriya, I hear you're also going for UA exam. As he's doing the whole thing, like hand motions and such. It's like, sorry. Ugh. How would that work, though? Weapons are not allowed to participate. He's like, I talked with my dad, and he's actually a teacher there. He says that he would actually check over with some of the teachers and such, and see if it would be okay for me to. It's like, alright. He's like, oh, I guess that kind of makes sense, Midoriya. It's like, yeah, well, see, Ida, but I gotta get home and study, as I gotta study harder than I've studied in my life. And I studied pretty well, I would say. As he left to go set out for his, home, his dad didn't really specify what kind of gun he would receive, so he doesn't know if he's going to be given an actual gun, or it will be like an energy-based gun that, if he shoots a robot or shoots it enough times, it'll finally, go down. So what he's doing is he's running through and practicing with all the guns that they got. They got lever actions, they got even if it sounds ridiculous, they even have, one belt fed. And if anyone knows what a belt fed looks like, he's shooting that, and bullets are, he has it just sitting normally, straight at center where there's no targets, but all around him, since this is customizable, he set up multiple things up in the tree and all around. As he pulls the trigger, it just starts blasting, and then each bullet just directionally goes for the one. Deku's been focusing on how to deal with rapid fire weapons and try and control as many of the bullets as he can as soon as they leave the trigger or leave the barrel. He's trying to also do rapid reloading, trying to get his speed up just in case they don't give him a pistol like his dad with that gigantic magazine. That gigantic revolver. Well, yeah, the revolver was gigantic, and so was the magazine. So, sorry. He's sort of going through all that and, trying to rapidly reload. So, sorry. He'll have 6 bullets, empty the thing, and then rapidly reload it, check it, flip it in, cock hammer back and fire. He's doing it with every single weapon and trying to get faster and faster with his hands. It's like, draw. He even like has one, I'll say there's a machine that's like, anyone seen Sword Art Online? Probably haven't. But there's one part where a guy called Kirito, and there's a robot where it's like draw and such, as it's an old cowboy one. And what it is that it has like one of the fastest like abilities to shoot people. So what Deku is trying to do is shoot it before then, and it's really fast. Since it's a machine, it can pull the weapon up much faster. It doesn't even have a holster. All it does is has the gun in the right hand, as it's like it's about to grab it, as in when it like forces its arm up, it's really fast. So he has to be able to beat it in a drawing contest, essentially. But that's how he like does his training. But he also doesn't slack on his like normal exercise. So he does lift weights and such, and does some what some would call military takedowns. Well, not just military takedowns, but like submission holds and such, where he's able to like get them in a grip. Like he's worked a lot on like subduing people instead of like, if he had to fight somebody, he would subdue them rather than punch them in the face, is how I was thinking about it. Sorry. As Deku is like all ready, he's like, alright. As he sets off for the UA entrance exam one day, where his mom actually took a day off to actually, wish him luck and give him the pat on the back as he sets off. He's like, alright. Stay focused, stay calm. Get there, get done, ace it. And he's like, called his dad. As Deku was sitting there, he actually did get sat next to Ida. And they do take note of the whole, hey, look, our things are different. As when Deku's sitting there listening to President Mike, Ida still does the whole, I got a question sort of thing. And since no one's really doing the whole whisper thing, Deku's like, Ida, what are you doing? He's like, I'm asking a question. He's like, oh, fine, don't embarrass us though. As it's like, what about the whole, 0-pointer thingy? As President Mike does do the whole, thing about, well, if you let me explain first, sort of thing. As when Deku's going down to, like, get ready and such, he's, like, called over, excuse me, Izuku Midoriya, may you please come here? As Deku's like, yeah, as he meets Nezu and some of the other teachers, who were kind of skeptical about him, like, first of all, like, doing it, like, he could attempt later on. But Snipe was able to not call in a favor or two, you could say. As he's like, alright, as Nezu's like, alright, Miss Deku, now your father has given you permission to use this. As he, like, points to the case on the table, he's like, open it. As Deku opens it, it's it's a less bulky version of his dad's. Like, it is very big, but it's like more smooth, you would say. And the ammo capacity is much smaller. But there's also 2 of them. So he has that going for him. He's like, oh. As he like holds him up and like sort of looks at him, cocks hammer back, puts it back, cocks it back in, put it back. So like, so Mr. Midori, as we know, your quirk is almost similar, is exactly like your father's, but a little bit better. So, for this, we'll be having you use these. As he like gives him a little thing of ammo, he's like, all right. It's like, wait. As he like walks over and Dad, as his dad has gotten him like a little gun belt, ammo belt and such. Would say a bandolier, but maybe a bandolier. As Deku like puts all the stuff on, he's like, oh, this is cool. It's like, yeah. As he's like, now, listen. These bullets are specially designed to hit, if you hit the robots right in the red eyes, this should shut them down directly. Sorry. And and as it says, we'll be keeping track of how many times you shoot the bullets. And if you win, well, not if you win, but try to get as high as you can, alright? He's like, alright, Dad. He's like, alright, now go get him, Tiger. As all of them are like some of them like, Snipe, your kid is a lot like you. He's like, well, I did raise him watching cowboy movies. It's what we mainly did. Now, let's go watch these children, shall we? As they all walk up to the thing, as Snipes paying special attention to Deku's, like, block. As Deku's standing there, he's like... As also Ito was transferred out, and Mina was actually put in. As she actually walks over, it's like, hey, Midoriya. He's like, oh, Mina, oh yeah, you said you were going for the UA entrance exam, didn't you? She's like, yeah, it was good, so, how are you? And he's like, I'm good. Snipe's like, what? As he's like, Snipe, what are you looking at? Oh, just, like, the screen, making all sure the students are being nice. So it's just like, hey, isn't that your kid? Who's he talking to? This is like, that's, Mina Shido. She's from this school in this district. She's like, seems to know your son pretty well. It's like, yeah. How did he get to that district? That's like almost to like another city. How far does he walk? Jesus. As Deku's like, yeah, as Uraraka didn't really fall down, so Deku never met her. As it's just like, well, Mina, let's stay focused, alright? As he pulls out his two guns, as he's like, this is where some fun begins. As he makes sure things are loaded, and when the doors open, since he's like very fast, like I said, he's been doing a lot of training, he is able to get past most of them. Like, I don't think there were many people with speed quirks. So Deku's pretty easily able to get like ahead of people since he's done military like training. I said military like because I'm not pointing out a specific one. So as he's making his way through like all those people, he actually starts encountering the robots. Sorry? As it's just like he shoots, as he tries to do what his father said, which was say, aim for the middle light. As he does that, and he starts actually just like one-shotting them. As he fired one gun like multiple times, as he like sort of got the other pistol, like since it was clenched in his hand, got it and rapid fired with the revolver. As he's like, alright, as he flips it back and does a speed load. Like I said, he's been practicing quite a lot. He's very fast and proficient with his shooting skills, as he's constantly like taking them out. As he's like, well, Snipe, your son is quickly racking up the points here. He's like, yeah, I know. As they're going forward with this, Deku's like, alright. As he like takes cover after like a robot started launching missiles at him, he's like, I don't have anything, I don't want to waste bullets by taking that thing out. So he fires at the robot, but the missiles are still tracking him. He's like, shoot. As he like pretty much throws one of the pistols like to break a window, as he jumps forward, he pushes forward, picking up the pistol again with the rocket exploding at his back. He's like, well, ain't this a surprise? As he reloads the pistol, he's like, oh, got several more. I got close to 2 dozen rounds. Should be enough to take out more than plenty. As he loads the gun back up, he's like, as he takes a breath in and kicks open the door, he's like, alright, finish this off. As he starts rapid firing, always at the center of the head. And he does get most robots. And the ones who don't get hit, it's typically where they're like off by a small margin. No. Or it's completely blocked as like rubble or something from some other people fighting robots are flung in the way, and the bullet just happens to like hit that. He's like, dang it! As he like tries to separate himself. As he's like, well, this looks good. As he's like, 6 rounds remaining. By my count, I have close to maybe to 60 points. But best keep moving. As he moves forward, he comes to a 0-pointer and it's like, help me! He's like, oh. As he's like, you okay? He's like, oh, As it's a rock, and Mina's like, wait, Deku, what are you doing? He's like, Mina, get over here now. As she starts melting the concrete, it's like, alright, as he just pretty much picks Araka up and puts her on his shoulder. He's like, alright, Mina, time to run. As they're like running, he's like, hey, can't you use one of your things on that? He's like, I don't know the range of these. As it's like, try. As he flips bullet, he's like, one shot, and he fires. As when it's going straight up, he makes it do a curve to the right. Well, not right, but to the left. Quite a bit, and then comes swinging back around as it hits the 0-pointer in the eye. As it goes, as it slows down as one side of the because I believe it has 2 sides, like two sets of 3 lights. So like 3 on one side, 3 on the other. He aims for the center and hits one side of the eye. So its combat capabilities lower. It's like, it's not stopping. He's like, fires off 2 more. As then they finish off the robot. As it just stops there at an awkward angle. As then it just goes, as it starts going to the right. As it falls over, crashing into several buildings. He's like, oh, well. That was exciting. It's like, come on, Mina. That was kind of fun, if not gonna lie, but still could have been less dangerous, you know? It's like, Mina's like, I agree, Deku. I agree. As then Deku and Mina go and find, Recovery Girl. There we go. Forgot his name for a second. Sorry. As then when he finds Recovery Girl, he's like, here's her. As it's like, good job, Midoriya. I'll see to it then. It's like, alright. As he starts walking out, he goes sits in a place. He's like, I should probably hand these in. As he goes over and hands in the thanks, he's like, thank you, Mr. Nezu. As Nezu says, that was quite well done, Midoriya. You'll be sure to get into 1A, possibly. If not 1B, either one's a great honor. He's like, sure. Thing, boss. Now, if you don't mind, does anyone have any water? He's like, here. Thanks. Tribador, he's like, I've just been worried about this for a while, you know, so got kind of to me a little bit sometimes. It's like, yeah, Midoriya, I know that feeling. Well, as he says, Snipe, it was a pleasure to have you here today, but you can take your son home if you wish. He's like, oh, sure. As Deku's like, wait, before I go, as he like hands in the 2 things, it's like, thank you, Midoriya. Power Loader will have enjoyed you actually sent these back. As for actual guns in the future, with this you feel completely confident in your ability to handle them. So, if you wish to request them, you may. It's like, thank you. As it's like, as Deku's like, oh. As he like cracks his back, he's like, I think one of those robots, I think when I was running, something like didn't go right. As his dad Snipes like, alright, come on. As he's like, wait a second. He walks over to Nezu. How many are left in that? It's like, 3 or 2 actually. He's like, what do these happen when they touch human? As he's like, Snipe. He's like, hey. He's like, what happens is they just get shocked severely. Like in the sense of there will be a mark left. He's like, Deku, before you go. As he like throws him one, he's like, what? It's like, alright. As I'll say, where they are is pretty big. So as Deku, his father, turn to each other's backs, walk, turn, and then like get in a standoff position, he's like, alright, let's see what you've learned. As it's like a draw, as they like both flip out the guns very quickly, as it's a tie. As his dad's like, oh, Midoriya, actually, oh, these hurt so much. Are you sure the robots can't feel pain? It's like, I'm sure, Snipe. He's like, alright. Come on, Deku. We'll talk more about this later and talk about your hero costume. He's like, thanks, Dad. As he walks off. And that's where I'll be ending this one off at. I hope y'all have enjoyed it. Hope y'all continue to enjoy it. And I hope y'all have a nice day, nice night, nice life.